Rusty Wadier, this is my wife Cece. We are doing scenario 3. Hi, how have you been?
Good, but I messed up this weekend.
Do you want to tell me about what happened?
I relapsed. I smoked a joint with my friend.
Can you tell me about what led up to this and what caused you to hang out with people that are doing drugs? I know you were doing so good, you were coming to classes and you had 6 months sober.
I just feel like I haven't been doing so well in life, and just a lot of issues have been coming up. We have a lot of bills at our house, and I have built up quite a bit of debt.
Were you feeling like this days prior to you hanging out with that person, or was it just all of a sudden?
So, yeah, I've been thinking about this for a couple days, and it just was getting to be a lot. When I started talking to my friend, they offered it to me. I thought quite a bit before I ended up saying yes, that I wanted to.
Did you know that this friend would have drugs prior to hanging out with her?
I didn't know, but she had somebody else over, and they ended up smoking, and I was there, and I think being in this situation, didn't help.
And this was 3 days ago?
Yes,
And you haven't used since then?
I haven't.
Do you want to get back on track for recovery?
I do. I do want to get back. I feel like a lot of these issues are just constantly coming up, and I get so frustrated with myself that I don't know what to do.
So, bills and debt are a trigger for you.
Yes.
What can we do to work on those triggers?
I guess we can talk more about trying to put money into paying off these debts. Staying away from others that aren't the best.
Have you been working on paying them off?
Yes, I've been paying off like $50 on each bill, but even then, those interest rates are so high that it's taking so long, and then they add their little tiny bit, and I feel like it's a hole that I'm never gonna get out of.
So maybe you can work on budgeting and not spending unnecessary money and paying those bills off so that you're not stressed up about it and using drugs, because that's not going to solve anything, is it?
No.
Well, you were doing very good prior to this. I think this is just a minor setback. You had 6 months clean, right?
Yes.
No failed drug tests. Does your probation officer know yet?
He doesn't.
If you tell him yourself, that goes a long way. When I was on probation, I relapsed a couple times, and one time I told him, and the punishment was not as severe as when I didn't tell him and continued using drugs for extended periods of time. So I think if you call your probation officer and tell him, he will be much happier that you're taking ownership of what you did and telling him yourself rather than him finding out from me or from your failed drug test.
Yeah, I just feel like I've actually built a relationship with my probation officer as well, and it's not only that I failed myself, is that I failed him, I failed my family. Then it just makes me even more upset with myself.
Accountability is huge in recovery. Taking ownership of what you did wrong and telling people, making amends, it will help a lot. But if you keep hiding it and trying to not let anyone find out, that's going to weigh on you, and you're going to beat yourself up over it, and then you're just going to continue to use and use to numb the pain.
So this first step, telling my probation officer, well then what next? Do I just...
We'll call him and tell him what you were going through and tell him what you did and that you regret your decision and are motivated to do better. And I think that since you have 6 months clean prior to this, and if you tell him yourself, he will be a little bit lenient and understanding. All you can do is learn from your mistake. You can't change it now. But the sooner you face the consequences, the sooner you can get back to what you were doing before.
Well, and I feel like I've been doing so good, and...
You were. This isn't the end. Coming in here and admitting it to me is a huge step.
I'm going to keep trying to stay sober because I don't want to keep going on this endless cycle of using and
No,
not...
nothing good comes from that.
Yeah. So, did it take a while for you to not have so much urges? Because I feel like I still have so many urges to use.
It never goes away. It's not easy, but you can do it. Anybody can do it. I did it. The main thing is to not get overwhelmed. I feel is to not get overwhelmed with stuff, especially stuff like that. Like, you can pay as much as you can, but what more can you do? It will work out if you keep staying sober and doing the right thing. You'll get it paid off eventually. And you'll be much more proud when you do pay off all that debt and are sober than if you just keep using drugs and paying the bare minimum and it just keeps going up and up and up.
Mm-hmm. And so you haven't told my probation officer at all?
No. Everything in this room is between you and me. He will see your failed drug test and find out, or you can tell him first.
Okay.
And I would strongly suggest you call him and tell him yourself.
I think that's what I'm going to do today.
It's a good plan.
Thank you so much for talking with me.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming in and telling me. So are you motivated? You're going to continue coming to treatment? You're not going to abscond?
Yes.
Are you coming to class tonight?